Meanwhile.
Oh, okay.
If I could please have Liam, Ashley, and Robbie come to the table.
Oh,
Shit!
Travis changed his name to Robbie.
Oh, shit!
Who is this now?
Matt, you lied. This isn't your basement.
Basement. It all works out fine. So now, the three of you have been set on a trek, specifically tied to the Arashari, when a call was made to you after returning to Byroden and the rest of your found friends. You were given a task by the voice of the Tempest, Keyleth. And as part of this journey,
Wait, what?
you were told to bring 2 friends along the way. At least 2 could be helpful in this. Opal had to stay behind, still figuring out kind of where she stood both with her sister and the newfound vestige that lies upon her head. And Dariax wanted to keep an eye and be there to support and help her figure out what the next step was to be, while the 2 of you were asked to attend Orm's side for this. With that, Keyleth transitioned you via tree to Amon to bypass the challenging mess you had left behind in
What
some
on
of the
earth
streets
do you
of-
mean?
And enough money to afford yourselves a skyship across the Osmond Sea.
Like that they own or rented?
No, a one-way passage on a skyship.
It's mine.
Now, as you come towards the end of this multi-day journey, the 3 of you glance past the edge of the skyship, kind of holding on to the far railing as the clouds and mist begin to dissipate beyond the front of the ship. As you look past the bow, you can see, beginning to emerge from the clouds and mist below, the 5 different heights of the rocky spires that mark Drusar.
This is lovely. They're so pointy. Are they pointy?
One of them is.
One of them is so pointy.
Now, for those who have not watched Alexandria Unlimited, Ashley, would you mind describing Fern?
Yes. Fern is about a 6-foot-tall fawn. Very, very long seafoam green hair, and is just covered in all bits and baubles and lots of flowers and toadstools and moss on her hooves. And she has a little friend, Mister, and he's a little monkey. That's all.
Are you drunk right now? Or is this
Always.
it? Okay.
Glancing over the side and spilling your excitement out to Orem, if you wouldn't mind, Liam, describing yourself.
Sure. Orem is a halfling. He's 3 foot and change. Shock of short brown hair. And he's wearing a little bit of brown leather armor, mostly a breastplate. And he's leather boots that have round green stone rings that are laced into the shin guard of each one. He has a short sword sheathed on his back, an ivy-adorned shield on one hand, and the armor and the very well-worn sashes that are tied around his waist and hanging down have woven patterns of ivy and flower on them, and they're beautiful, but they're not fancy. They're just well-made and well-worn. And he has a full-sleeve tattoo going up his arm that is all clouds from the wrist all the way up onto his shoulder and then disappearing under his armor onto his chest. And the two moons of Exandria are right here. Catha is a white crescent, and Ruidus is a smaller full moon cradled within. And he is very fine features. He's really ropey muscles and slender, like a dancer.
Okay. Glancing past the edge of this wonderful vista before you as the city grows closer, this is the first journey any of you have taken in a sky ship, but it's certainly not the first time that you've been here, Dorian. This is an odd, if conflicted, return to a continent where you began your journey a long time ago. If you wouldn't mind describing Dorian.
Sure. Dorian is, for all intents and purposes, a normal bard. He's just in traveler's clothes. But if you were to first glance at him, what you would notice is how uncharacteristically clean he is. No mud on his boots. He has a large winged sort of armor plate that you can't really tell if it's ornamental or functional, and there's not a fingerprint on it. It's perfectly shined. And he's wearing a long cape that has sort of a sunburst ombre that goes down the back. He's an Air Genasi, so he sort of moves with a lightness, and you might first mistake it for confidence, but it just seems like it's part of who he is and not so much what he wants to project. And he has long black hair that goes down into a white ombre, and he's got sort of a top knot man bun here, also very pristine. Yeah, as he sort of looks out over things, he feels comfortable in the sky, but this is a wild experience. Yeah, and he's enjoying it a lot.
Slowly, the sky ship begins to grow closer and closer to dock between the 5 spires of Drusar, heading towards the Aerie Spire, whereupon you can see from this distance these massive structures, these clusters of towers that draw high and thin. You can see mass halls made of marble with open windows and crystalline art pieces that are almost like these murals that the sunlight catches and creates a prismatic-like refraction across the concrete ground on the exterior. What you do also see are the 2 other sky ships that are docked on one large protruding skyport. You can see they have different designs than the one you're on based on where they were built, whatever union or guild or individual had conscripted or ordered their construction. While they're all a similar layout for the most part, each seems to have a little bit of flair from wherever its home may be. And you watch as one initiates its takeoff, heading more in a northeastern direction, and one that is just currently locked in at the dock as you get closer and closer and closer. Some of the other people who were staying on this trip, and mostly kept to themselves, you could see gathering their belongings and preparing to disembark upon arrival. You have about a minute before you touch down at the skyport.
This is easily one of the most beautiful things I have ever seen.
I agree.
How do you suppose it stops? Like, I think I've understood how it's been going, but how does it stop? It looks like we're going too fast. Does it feel too fast?
I think we crash.
What?
I'm sure they've got it worked out.
All right. Beautiful, beautiful, very beautiful.
Look at that city. It's huge.
You watch as the 2 prominent blue rounded stones about 10 to 12 feet in diameter that are affixed to the front of the ship, referred to as broomstone, which has a natural arcane ability to remain aloft in spite of gravity, and that maintains a skyship's movement, begin to glow brighter. And as they do, the ship begins to come to a slower and slower speed until eventually it descends rather suddenly, and everyone kind of gets that sudden drop in their stomach as the butterflies creep in, until you feel it impacts on some sort of dock, and you can already hear chains being pulled down from below. A few shouts, people shouting in Marquesian phrases. Go over here, quick! All right, we got a lockdown! You guys who do not speak Marquesian just hear shouting.
I do give Dorian just a little soft, like, fist on the hip and say, see. Fine. Thank you. Everything's fine.
You'd think I'd be better at this, wouldn't you?
Two of the other people kind of watch and clap, not wanting to feel left out, and they gather their belongings. And you can see there's an iron gate at the edge of the skyship edge, and now as it begins to open up, you can see other people walking towards it. And there is a staircase that has been affixed to it that leads them down one by one as you gather your things and exit the skyship yourselves.
Well, shall we?
Yeah. Let's, get a feel for this place. Don't need to rush into things.
All right.
Thank you all for traveling. Welcome to Drusar. I am the port captain, Tang. Thank you for flying. And you look over. You glance over, and off to the side, there is a heavy station in the center of the skyport, which has multiple outcroppings. It looks like it could hold at any given point in time simultaneously up to 8 different skyships comfortably. And in the center of it, there is kind of a small tower, and you see there with what looks like some sort of a vocal extension horn, kind of like a cone, if you will, shouting out where what looks to be a humanoid bird kinfolk. You know is referred to as an Icefra. And you can see this kind of beautiful kind of ivory feathers that kind of eventually transition into a dark brown at some points, and then over the shoulders it's like a heavy brown coloration, but is wearing a uniform and a hat and seems to be very excited and proud of their position. With that, you exit following the rest of the folks that are disembarking and make your way down into a central street here within the airy Spire.
Just sort of dive into the current of it and see what we see. Learn by walking.
Okay.
Just like the last few months, right?
Yeah, you're just one foot in front of the other and you move forward.
That is exactly how you walk.
Yeah.
Let's hoof it.
Let's hoof it.
Continuing on, you watch as part of the crowd splinter off, some of them head towards some of those larger kind of tower-based structures that you saw. A small crew of them begin to progress to what looks to be some sort of a 2-story structure where a large, heavy tower that has a metal ball at the top, and it looks to be a cable that descends out of view. You know this to be one of the various wire gondolas that connect elements of the city, and as folks go up and begin to pay an individual that lets them onto one of these gondolas that is ready to make its way downward, he kind of looks over you all expectantly with his hand out.
I give him a slap.
Thank you. Are you taking passage?
Oh, are we taking passage on this thing?
Yes, we are. How much? I start pulling out a change purse.
1 silver per.
I got it.
Are you sure?
Sure.
Okay.
This is on top of the low 5 she gave you.
Thank you. Goes ahead and opens the door, lets you in, and it's now the 3 of you and what looks to be one other large Pakidan, almost like a priest figure. Looks younger, massive elephant folk, who is wearing these kind of roomy, almost cream-colored robes and sleeves that drag past the arms. Looks like they have a long kind of earring chain that dangles down to kind of the mid-chest, and you can see them kind of clutching it with one of their hands and rubbing it almost like it has some sort of personal meaning. And this individual you saw briefly get onto the skyship as you originally took off, and then was unseen until you arrived. And they kind of fiddle nervously as the doors close, and it jerks for a second, and you feel the gondola descending. And while the interior is largely closed off, there are a few windows, and there is an element, as you can't help yourself but peek through, where you are looking down hundreds and hundreds of feet to just the faintest texture of a mist-covered jungle below.
You know, for some reason, this doesn't bother me like the ship did. Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, I'm all right with this. Yeah, I think it's the wire. It feels like we're connected. We're safe.
Yeah, we're real safe, just on a string.
Yeah, big safe string.
It's much more
When we were
safe.
on the ship, didn't have that sort of sway to it.
Oh, it made me so
was a little more
sleepy. It was very relaxing, just being on the ship, just the light sway, you know?
Suddenly it lurches
That was fast.
midway down the cable and comes to a stop and kind of sways.
Is this normal?
What's the weight limit on this thing? And I nudged the guy next to us.
I'm sorry, excuse me.
Just a joke.
How were your travels?
Nervous. It continues again. And you see the Pagadon kind of like,
Did you get the tummy flutters?
every time.
Yeah.
I'll never get used to it. And kind of like glances back out past the window. Now you can see you're heading now towards the central spire of this city. Of these 5 that are there, the middle one is not the tallest, but it is definitely the largest. And along the spirals here, you can see all smattering of neighborhoods, like this massive dreamlike quilt of colors and structures. You can see one region looks like a neighborhood that is just encompassing and swallowing almost like an entire 5th of the side of this spire. And it looks like all these almost vertical buildings that are just locked onto each other and are connected by these tiny little ladders and pathways and walkways. And it's incredible. Beyond that, you see a smaller spire kind of to the northwestern side of it that is a little smaller than the others, though almost as tall as the core spire, where there are what looks almost like factories, more industrial landscape there, and about a half dozen or more plumes of smoke that rise from different exhaust ports or holes within the rock itself. And it kind of changes the colors of the mist that gather around that particular region.
I sort of squeeze in between Fern and Dorian and look out. Boy, a city this big, all we gotta do is find one man. Easy.
Yeah, that sounds very simple.
Not today, though.
We should take one night to sort of, get rid of the jet lag, right?
Yeah. Don't want to walk into trouble.
Well, hold on to your purse. I spent a night here, just one. Stayed at a hostel and woke up and my purse strings were cut. So, just be on your guard.
Okay. I'm gonna step over to the one with the earring. Is he still on the...
Pagadon, yeah, and he's like edging his way towards the door that'll open and exit as it's just come to rest at the bottom at the core spire exit.
I really like your earring.
Thank you very much.
I reach out and I just touch it.
He's just like a flinch, but he allows it. It's a symbol of the Allhammer.
One more time.
It's a symbol of the Allhammer.
The Allhammer.
Great deity of skilled crafting.
Oh. How interesting.
The brief glimpse of a smile that had curled to his lips begins to fade and just kind of starts fiddling with it again and turns back to the door as it opens and then just steps out and immediately kind of...
As he starts to step out, I'm gonna try to swipe it. I'm gonna try to take it off his ear, grab it. Because I like it a lot.
Make a sleight of hand check.
Been here 5 minutes.
She's the one we're supposed to be looking out for.
Hold on, let me move my scrunchie out of my dice trays.
Oh, okay, that's a natural 19. Plus 2, so...
Wow.
He exits briskly, making a... For such a large, beastly-looking entity, the steps are quite gentle and quick as he exits. A moment later, you can see Fern in her hand clutching this gathered chain of gold and silver with a particular symbol on it that looks almost like a metallic hammer with faces lightly carved on the edges of it.
Fern?
Mm-hmm.
we've talked about this.
What?
I know that it works most of the time, but that is going to get us in trouble.
I told you a story about someone picking my pocket 30 seconds ago, and then you pick someone's pocket?
That was a
Just
priest.
don't get on my ass about it. All I know is that it's pretty easy to do here. That's all I took from what you said.
Oh my God.
It's beautiful. And it's for the god of arts and crafts. I think that's what he said.
Just close enough.
Skills.
Put it away in case he comes back, please.
Okay. Gosh, take it easy.
As a note, this is about 2.5 feet long. Much smaller on the ear of its previous carrier. On you, it like drags your ear a bit, but it looks cool.
I pulled Dorian over a few feet away. Listen, I don't think she's gonna stop, and I think the only way that it is gonna stop is if she steps on a rake. Do you know what I mean?
Of course, but she's not going to step on a rake. She's going to step on our rakes, and those rakes are going to hit us in the face, not her face.
Just give us a second, Fern.
How do we keep her under control?
How's that gone the last couple of months?
Horribly. All right, I'll stay on her left, you stay on her right, and we'll do a sandwich.
We'll just be more alert than usual, okay?
She took it so fast, I couldn't do anything.
I know, and it's amusing, but we gotta tamp it down if we can, and eventually it's gonna, bite her in the ass and all of us, but...
All right, fine.
All right.
Agreed.
All right, we're done talking in front of you. Let's go.
I'll be more careful, I promise him. It was just so beautiful.
Yes, it is.
Looks
I
great.
don't do that to everybody. I don't.
Let's keep going.
5 is not that many. Come on.
Where are you off to?
Well, unless you guys have any other ideas, I think just finding a place to eat and stay for the night. And I don't think we should rush into this.
Yeah.
I mean, you would know. I know that you haven't been here much at all, but you'd know better than us, certainly.
Make a history check.
History check. Huge roll. Natural 20.
Yes.
End the show right there.
Thank you for joining for Campaign 3.
Yeah. That's it. One roll.
You stayed here last time. That's how it's a natural 20. You know it so well because you've been there. In the core Spire, one of the affordable, interesting, filled with colorful characters, and not too far from where you currently are right now would be the Spire by Fire.
Well, we've got a little spending cash, right? A little slush fund, but we've got a lot to do. And it's our first night. I think we should be frugal. There's some places around here. I didn't stay here, but it's called the Spire by Fire. Yeah, it's got a nice name, catchy. Yeah. Right. So go there, check it out, get the lay of the land, maybe find a bed, 2, 3, whatever.
We can all sleep in the same bed.
Sure. And
save money if we're trying to be frugal.
You're really tall.
You're really small.
We'll figure it out.
Everything rhymes here.
And if I recall, I think it's this way.
Okay.
All right. So taking the lead, you continue to guide your other compatriots